This video is going to take you through making this horn, which involves using the loft command. So first of all, we're going to start a new drawing just by clicking plus up here. Whenever you start something, it's a good idea just to get into a habit of saving it. So I'm just going to go up here to the disk. First time it'll ask, see, this is me saving it in my projects. You need to make sure that you save your work in your class folder with your grade 8, 9, 10, whatever. Save it in the folder that your teacher has access to. I'm just going to call this horn for video. And then every time afterwards, we just hit save and it'll save it in the same place. So the first thing we're going to do is create a new sketch. So that's up here in the create function, the create option, and then create sketch. Or you can just click on this icon there. Now for this task, I'm a bit slow, I'm going to just click on this bottom plane there. Okay, you can see we're now looking at the top. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a circle from the origin, and I'm going to make it 80 millimeters. And because we're making a horn, we need to put another circle inside there. So I'm just going to make that 70. Now, I'm just going to name that sketch Profile 1. I'm going to finish the sketch. Now, from that point, it's very important that we did our circles around the origin. The next thing we're going to do is draw the path that we're going to have our loft going along. So it can't be on the same plane, it can't be on that bottom plane, it has to be on one of the ones coming up. Again, it doesn't really matter for this, so I'm just going to select that plane there, and you can see the line representing the circle that we drew in that plane. So I'm just going to bring it back to the right hand by clicking on the cube now, and you see we've got sketch 2. We're going to name that sketch path, because this is the path that we're going to follow. So we've got the path, and I'm going to take the fit point spline, and it's got to come from the center. And I'm just going to draw 3 points up like that, maybe 4, be fine. You can change it however you like and just hit the check mark when you're done. Okay, so the great thing about these nodes or points that we've got added now is if I press escape or go up here to press select, that's your default. When you press escape, it goes back to selecting something. We can then move these points around however much we like. Or in fact, if we think that's gone too far, we can just delete one. So now I've got my points. The next thing I'm going to do is we're going to finish that sketch first of all, sorry. So we've got profile 1, we've got the path. And in the timeline, we've just got profile 1 and path there, okay? The next thing we're going to do is we're going to construct a plane along a path. So I'm going to click on this here, and then if I click anywhere on that line, it puts in a work plane. Now, if I go to the right-hand side, we can see we've got one plane there, and we can move it up and down along that path. I'm just going to say that's okay, and I'm then going to put another one on the very end of the path. So we've now got those 2 additional planes added in. We don't need to name those because we don't often do a lot of plane construction. If you had loads and loads, then you might want to. So the next thing we're going to do, create a new sketch on that first plane that we added, okay? And this one, we're going to call that Profile 2. Oops, didn't actually rename it at all. Okay, now I'm just going to turn off those constructions because it's getting in the way a little bit. And you can see the origin is automatically on the center on that line there. So when I'm in that sketch, I'm just going to bring it back around again. So we're looking at the top. I'm going to take my circle tool, snap to the origin, see it's got that little square, and draw, this time, a 60. millimeter circle. And put another one inside, 50, so that we've got a thickness on the wall of this staying at 5 millimeters on each side. Then I can finish that sketch. I'm going to turn back on the construction because see, the one we've used disappears now. We go up here to create new sketch, click on that work plane we created, and you can see now the origin is going to be right on the line. Just rotate around, you can see it's on the line. So we're going to take a circle tool on the origin, and this time we're going to make that 30. And I'm going to draw another circle and make that 20. Name the sketch Profile 3. And finish those sketches, and you can see we've got the path for our horn. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is go up here to create, and we're going to create a loft. So we're going to click on the outer ring, going along to the last one, and then we click OK. So at the moment, we've not got the center cut out. It's a solid profile. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn off that body, and I'm going to turn back on the sketches again. And this time, I'm going to do a loft, and I'm just going to click on the smaller circle inside. Now, it's telling me that because the visibility is off, we can't create this, or the bodies are invisible. So I'm going to turn on the bodies again, the bodies folder, and it automatically changed it from creating a new body to cut. Just in case it doesn't though, just make sure you have that on cut. And you can see now, you can turn off all those sketches again. We have a hole going all the way through. Now you could leave it at that, but I think we can do a little bit more. We're going to do a revolve to create that expanded part at the bottom. So back here in this design, I'm going to create a new sketch again, and this time we want it not the bottom, we want it one of those other two planes. If you can't select that plane, you can zoom out, you can see it, and you see now we're looking at the side of that. We need to reference all this geometry, so I'm just going to go up here to create and project include, and we want to project, or you could just press P on your keyboard. So I want that line there because that's very important. So I'm just going to say OK. Now that line's geometry is brought in. Going to use the spline tool here. So it's under create, spline, fit point spline is the best one I find to use. All of these commands can be added to your shortcut up here just by going over, and when you see the three dots, click on the three dots and you can pin it to toolbar. Okay, I already have mine set up there. So I'm going to click on the end point there and draw my shape. Check mark to finish shape. Next, I'm going to go up here to create. No, it's not create, it's modify, and we're going to offset that line we just drew. So click on offset, select the line you want to offset, and I'm going to drag it backwards 5 minus 5 millimeters so that we keep the thickness the same. Now we've got a little gap here, so what we can try here is just to extend that line to there. Just by clicking on it, it extended that. I'll show you that again. So we go up here to modify, click on extend, click on that line there, and you can see it's beginning to bring in that extension. Now at the end here, we know the distance between those two lines is 5. So if I draw a straight line across from here to there, see it's 5 millimeters. We can then take a center circle, center diameter circle, move to the center. The center is shown by that triangle there. Click on the center, move up to the end point, and we have our profile that we'd like to revolve. So I'm going to finish that sketch. Oh no, well, I could have drawn in a line of symmetry, but because we've drawn the origin, we can use that as our line of, or axis of revolution rather. So I'm just going to name this sketch revolve. And then we go up here to create, go to revolve. First thing we have to do is select the profile. So with the profile selected, I'm going to click on there. It won't always get that circle, so we just click in both parts there as well. So now you see we've got 3 profiles selected. We must choose our axis. Now when I click on the axis, because we're drawing everything underneath, the axis is above there. Okay, I'm just holding down Shift and moving 2 fingers together on my trackpad. So we can click on that line there. And you'll see it automatically wants to join it. I'm quite happy with that. So I'm just going to click OK. And now we have our horn complete. If you go up to modify, though, just one last thing, go down to appearance. We don't really want our horn to be steel, which is what it is right now, steel satin. We'd rather have it to be brass, ideally. So let's scroll down, brass, and let's make it polished. I'm just going to drag that up into the box here, and then we can drop it in to our design there. And there you have the finished